Okay, so we're gonna prepare to lay sod. So laying sod is actually pretty simple, but the most important part is preparing it. So what we wanna make sure we're doing is we're getting rid of any weeds that are in the soil already, any roots that can be removed so that there isn't weeds popping up through your sod. We wanna make sure that it's graded nicely. We always wanna slope on the sod so it's sloping away from the house. The other thing we're gonna do is make sure that there's no lumps or bumps in the sod. So it does need to be a really nicely graded area that's nice and smooth. We're gonna lay down some topsoil and then the sod. But preparation with anything is always really important. And with sod, making sure that we get rid of all those weeds, any roots and any lumps or bumps, and making sure we have a nice even area to lay our topsoil and sod. Part of the prep for your sod is to make sure you're getting rid of the weeds. So this is a scuffle hoe or a Dutch hoe. It's a great tool to use just to get rid of the weeds and go through the entire area and make sure that everything's pulled up. So we love this tool for prepping for sod. So the guys are working hard at prepping the soil for the sod. It's really important that the preparation is done properly. And the key to that preparation is making sure that we got rid of any roots and any weeds so that they don't come up through the sod. But then the next thing is to even out, level out all of the soil underneath so that we don't get lumpy parts and that it's graded properly. That does take quite a bit of time to fill in any of the divots, make sure there's no lumps, and make sure it's nice and smooth. Then we'll put down an inch of topsoil and then we'll start sodding. The sodding is actually quick work. The real work comes from the preparation of all the soil underneath. So guys are working hard at making sure it's nice and level. So follow us. So we're making sure that the ground is level, there's no lumps or bumps. We're putting down some soil to make sure that we have a nice layer and the sod will be rolled into it. And the other thing that's really important is that there is interlock patio that they're gonna step off of onto the grass. We wanna make sure that that's nice and level. So not only do we need to make sure that the ground is prepared so there's no weeds or roots, and you also wanna make sure it's nice and level with the interlock so that there's a clean step between the interlock to the grass. So that takes a little bit of finesse and we gotta stop, slow down, take our time, make sure it's all right before we get to laying down the sod. So we've started to lay some of the sod, and some of the things that are really important when you're laying the sod, we've already talked about this. Preparation is the most important thing, making sure you have a flat ground with some topsoil for it to sink into. That's the most important thing. But then when you start laying the sod, you wanna make sure that you don't have any gaps in between the strips. So making sure it's butted up really tight is important. The second thing is you wanna lay it in a brick pattern so that it's staggered. Each roll is staggered. That will allow the sod to weave into each other. Otherwise, you might see a straight line and that will create a gap and it will look awful and you might have to redo it. So a brick pattern is really important. We're also putting the sod up against other sod that's been here for a long time. So we need to make sure we spend some time making sure that it's level with the other sod, so there's no drop or step up from the old sod to the new sod. And then once you've laid all your sod, we're gonna roll it so that it sinks into the nice layer of topsoil we have and make sure that there's no bumps or lumps in the sod. Once we've got all our sod laid, then the next 2 weeks are really important. You know, it's actually pretty hot right now, so we're gonna make sure that we're watering it every single day for at least the first 2 weeks. Best to do it in the evening. If you do it in direct sunlight, it's just gonna burn off with the sun. You want it to penetrate into the soil. So doing it overnight so it's dark and it's cooler will be the best. Secondly, you don't want to walk on the sod, so you want to leave it untouched for a couple weeks. You don't want to cut the sod for a couple weeks, and you don't want to fertilize. So, you know, preparation is probably the most important thing, and then the second most important thing is what you do after the sod's laid. So those are some tips on how to lay sod. If you like what you saw today, we'd love for you to subscribe to Absolute Home Services, like the video for more content like this. If you'd like us to come by and do a backyard project and sodding for you, we'd love to help. Give us a call at Absolute Home Services.